Hello, students. Yesterday we had an interesting lesson. The lesson that we had was divided into two parts. So let's just go back and see what we have in two is better than one. We started first of all with the listening part here, where we discussed the very famous Saudi personality or the figure. We talked about the achievements of Dr. Abdul Rabi'a, and we mentioned a lot of his achievements. Our task was to just rearrange the sentences or reorder the sentences that we listened to. After that, we finished from the listening and we started with the other part, which is the part of pronunciation, and we focused on the pronunciation of the letter R. Now, there is a task that I gave you. I asked you to write 15 words. Now, 5 words of them should have the R in the beginning, 5 should have the R in the middle, and the other 5 should have the R at the end of the word, to practice the R sound in the word in several places. So we have here, I'm going to give you my examples that we have here. Now, you can read with me. So I'm going to give you just a second to read, and then I'll follow you up. You have the first one. Religion, respect, rare, and you can see that rare is a very heavy word because we have 2 R's, although the word is a short one. Rich, reach. And here from these 2 words, you can see that the importance of pronunciation is that you can mix with another word. So we have here rich and reach. If you are just listening and you don't have the word in front of you, it can be sometimes confusing if it is not pronounced correctly. Then we have perfect, careful, surprised, perform, grow, super, order, power, better, together. So we have the division as I showed you, and some words do have 2 R sounds in the same word. Now you can see here the whole figure or the table that we have you. Actually, it reminds me of something else. So just imagine we have here a complete building full of words. So you can see the small windows. We have the words in them. We have different floors. And if you just see that some buildings, they can be small buildings and some are very high. So this is actually something that is related to our new lesson that we have today. We're going to see together. We have passed by the first 4 lessons that we have here, and then we have the listening and the pronunciation, which makes us stop here at the vocabulary building lesson. Now, in the vocabulary building, we have interesting information. So let's just think about the meaning of vocabulary building before you start the vocab. So once you are focused on what you are doing, you will be able to learn more. And this is some kind of just a way to make you more excited and let's say eager to learn more words. Now we have here, as we said, it is related to a building. Now, every enormous building starts with this. So your language here, it can be very simple. You can start with very simple words like a small child, when the child starts learning learning how to talk at the beginning. And then after that, your vocabulary rises and you have a higher standard in your language. So this is the same thing. It's exactly like a building. No, vocabulary building is the same idea. You learn new words, and with these words you may understand the whole context or idea. You make use of your 4 skills to learn and to use them in them as well. So once you think about it, that when you learn a new word, you are pronouncing, which is speaking. When you listen to the word or hear it, you understand what the word means, which is listening. When you use it in a sentence, you are applying grammar. And at the same time, you are writing. And also, we can say that when you see the word, you will understand it and you will understand the context around it, which makes it very useful in reading. So actually, yes, you are applying everything at the same time. With your vocabulary, you get higher and higher in language. So as much words you learn, you will get even higher in your level in English. And the opposite is true. If you don't work on your vocabulary, your wall of words will not be strong as you need, which makes your language actually very weak. So let's start working on our building. We have our learning objectives. To give the meaning of new vocabulary from context. Relate the new vocabulary to their synonyms and antonyms. Answer questions and state the definitions. Form sentences using the new vocabulary. So we have, let's start. We are going to start with the basics, and the first thing is that we are going to see and look at the page that we have here, page number 11. You will find your exercise. You will see these words in the reading on page 12 and 13. Match the words with their meaning. And also in the book, they mentioned something else, which is if you do not understand the meaning of a word, look it up in a dictionary. But here, I'm going to say stop. We are not going to look it up directly. We are going to actually leave the dictionary the very last solution. Now, there are ways that you can learn the vocabulary and you can apply them. And the most important thing is that once you have learned the word, that you do not forget it and you just make use of it in your language. So what are we going to do? First, read the words and see if any are familiar. So we have here 5 words in our lesson. You can see the first word, just try to read it. We have the first, compensate. Number 2, deficiencies. Number 3, fearsome. Number 4, invaluable. Number 5, predators. So these are the 5 words that we have. If any of them you have already studied before or you know the meanings, this is a good thing, and you can just focus on the other words that you still do not understand. This is the first thing. Now we'll come to the second. Second, read the meaning and try to relate. So we have here the meanings, and actually it is a matching meeting here, or a matching question here. So we are going to relate and see that we have here A, ways in which something lacks what it needs. This is the first meaning. Number 2, causing great fear. Number 3, animals that live by hunting others. Number 4, extremely valuable, or we can say priceless. Number 5, to overcome a weakness with a strength. So, try to relate. Now, we can say, for example, that we have here B, which is causing great fear. It is very close, and we can relate it actually with number 3, which is fearsome. And you can do the same with the other examples. So just to try to relate and see what we have. After that, we have number 3, third, to go through the meaning in the context. Now, to go through the meaning in the context is that what we are going to apply now. Now, we're going to try to just read the context that we have here and try to understand what does the word mean from the whole meaning that is in the paragraph. Then, as a 4th solution, is to ask a classmate and discuss together. Number 5, to get hints from pictures, synonyms, antonyms, and explanation. So there can be a kind of discussion, which is the explanation part. We can just relate to synonyms, which have the same meaning, or the antonyms, which are actually the opposite meaning here. So these are different ways that we can learn words instead of just going and translating immediately. So we have the first one, we're going to start it. We have here the word compensate. Now I would like to give you just 1 second to read here the paragraph and try to understand the word compensate. What does it mean? So just take a look. Yes, so let's see here. We have here another 2 animals that team up to compensate for their own weaknesses are the zebra and the ostrich. Now here we have 2 interesting thoughts. First of all, the whole unit is about teamwork. And now we are talking about animals who are teaming up. So this is something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that there is a kind of teaming up, a natural teaming up between 2 animals. And this is what we're going to take in the reading part, which is very interesting. So we can see that the zebra and the ostrich, they form a team together, and each one of them compensates for the other's weakness. So if you have not understood from here, I can just show you this picture here. And you can see that some people, they may have weaknesses. They may have lost a leg or an arm, for example, just an example. And there is a way that they can compensate for their weakness, because when I lose an arm or a leg, this is actually a kind of weakness. But we can just try to compensate by using an artificial part. Now, I can give you also a third explanation as an example and say that, okay, I'll give you a bonus in your marks if you try hard and work harder to compensate for what you have lost. So these are 3 ways. We read the context that we have here, or the text, and we have just looked at the picture, and also there is a kind of explanation for the fact. So we have here the first word, which we said is compensate. The second one, try to read it. We have here deficiencies, and we're going to do the same thing here. We have here deficiencies. Now just take a look, 1 second. Yes, you can see, on the other hand, the zebra has terrible eyesight, while the ostrich has excellent eyesight, enhanced by its long neck, which enables the ostrich to see far into the distance. In this way, each makes up for their other's deficiencies. Now here, this word deficiencies, you can relate it to compensate, because we are compensating here, or the idea is to compensate these deficiencies. We can also relate deficiencies with a synonym here, which is shortage. And I can show you also this man here, and he doesn't look very well. He has clearly deficiencies. It's maybe lack of sleep, lack of healthy food, lack of vitamins. So we have here lack of something, which causes deficiencies. This is number 2. After that, we have number 3. Yes, we have the word fearsome. Now, fearsome here, very clearly, we can see that fearsome is related to the word fear. We can see that there are examples of symbiosis occurs between the fearsome African crocodile and the small plover bird. And also I can give you another idea, which is that it is the opposite of cowardly. Now, some people, they act very bravely, which means that they are fearsome. And some other people, they may act cowardly, which is the opposite meaning. We have here also invaluable. Now also, you have a second just to read. Yes, now when we talked about the animals and that they compensate for each other, we can see here that the benefits they provide one another is invaluable. And this is something, as I mentioned before, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that there is something between them natural. Now, also we can say that invaluable is the same meaning or the synonym of precious. And just to give you an example, we have here water is invaluable. Moving on to the last word here, we have the word predators. No predators here. You have a second to read. Okay, since it is the last word we have here, from animals in the wild, each day is a struggle to survive. They must continually search for food while at the same time keeping themselves safe from predators. So just imagine wildlife and how giraffes, let's say for example, zebras, ostriches, and how they are living their life. They are trying to live, they go as herds, and at the same time, while they're looking for food, they are trying to protect themselves from predators. Now we have here, this is a picture. We have here, this is another kind of predator. And also we have here the third. But also it is interesting to see this picture here. Now you can see this picture here. Now we have here a small cat, which is, you can see that it is harmless. It is a cute picture here. But the cat here is actually a predator. Why? Because it is chasing the mouse. So the predator doesn't have to be some wild animal like the pictures that we saw before. Any animal which chases another animal or lives on the other animal is a predator. So we have here, these are the 5 words that we have passed by. So we have here, these are the 5 words that we said or mentioned. Now, the last solution will be to go through a dictionary. So we explained the words, we read through the text that we had, we showed pictures, we had the synonyms and the antonyms, and we generally discussed the words. After that, if you still have some kind of concern for the meaning, you can just go back to the dictionary, but leave it as a last solution. Now, going to our exercise. Again, we have here, you can just read the meanings again, and you have the words. Now it's going to be clearly easier than the first time that we did it. So starting with the first one, compensate, you can just take some keywords here. Now I can say from A, ways in which something lacks, just underline the word lack. We have causing great fear, you can underline fear. We have number C, animals that live by hunting others. You can underline animals and hunting. D, to extremely valuable or priceless. Of course, we have here valuable and priceless. And we have the end, overcome weakness with strength. Weakness and strength, which is actually the meaning for the first one, compensate. Then the second one, deficiencies. Now, like the man that we said that he may have sleeping problems or healthy food, he isn't eating enough, which means that he has a lack of something, A. We have here fearsome. We agreed to connect it with B. Invaluable is very obvious. We have here D. And predators, who are, or which are animals here, we have C. But we're still not done. Now this is the exercise that we have in the book. There is a very important issue that we have. How to remember. Now I have learned the words. I know the meanings now, But the most important thing is to remember them all the time and not just to forget. So we don't want something that is temporary. The solution is to relate. Now we are going to relate how? By using the words more often. You can think about different examples you have around you. You can think if there is something that compensates for another, the different deficiencies that someone might have. We can just look at a small cat and remember that he is or it is actually a predator. We can think about fearsome things, or that there are some things that you try to avoid. And also we have the word which is invaluable, and actually, alhamdulillah, we have a lot of things around us that are invaluable. Now here I have prepared for you a story, or not a story, but an actual paragraph that has all 5 words in it. So try to be creative, try to think about something that you can relate the words at the same time, or if you wish to do them one by one. Now here we have the dinosaur. How did I relate the dinosaur with the 5 words that we have learned? So see what I have prepared for you. We have the paragraph. Have you ever imagined living in the dinosaur age? Dinosaurs are quite fearsome predators, but even the strongest have their deficiencies. No one knows exactly why dinosaurs had become extinct and disappeared, but life is invaluable, and there were things that they could not compensate. They will always be a mystery. So this is something just to think about, that they were great creatures, they were huge, they were fearsome. How can a very big, fearsome animal, which was known to be a predator, just disappear? How did they become extinct? So this is something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to think that even if it is something huge, something that is enormous in life, it may have its deficiencies, and there are things that we cannot compensate for. This shows us that there are some things in life that are invaluable and they cannot be exchanged or changed. So here I related the whole idea with the dinosaur. You can do the same thing. You can use my story here, or you can just go and think about different things that you have around you. So our lesson, we have here the 5 words. Now this is just an introduction for a very interesting lesson that we're going to take in the next lesson, inshallah, which is the reading part that we have. And actually we are going to discuss something, or another different teamwork example, which is between animals. So I advise you to just go back to the reading part that we have and think about the different examples. Do you know any kind of animals that you feel that they are connected to each other? They are always around each other because they protect each other. Now the zebra, for example, as we have mentioned, has its deficiencies. And we have here also these ostrich has the deficiencies or weaknesses. And they are together because they compensate for each other. We are going to mention the zebra and the ostrich again with other types of animals that have their kind of teaming up built between them. Now we have the reading part that we have in the next lesson, inshallah. As for now, our outline is to, first of all, recognize and recall. So from your previous knowledge, you can just recognize the words or recall their meanings. After that, the comprehension part is to understand from content and connect the words that we have learned with synonyms and antonyms. And also we have here the end. What did we do? After we understood the parts that we had, we have communicated with using the new vocabulary and thinking about other examples, and connected, of course, our exercise, which is connecting to the definition. So this is our lesson for the day. Be ready for the teamwork, the different type of teamwork that we have prepared for the reading. Be ready.